Hello everyone, this is Eugene from Eugene Reviews here on YouTube. As of right now, I'm recording this video in the hopes that this comes out on Friday, May 21st, 2021. And why I bring that up is because it's actually a little bit of a special occasion because it actually marks 1 year since I've began doing Eugene Reviews. It's crazy, right? All this started because the pandemic hit, everything was shut down. There was nothing to do at home, there was nothing to do outside, so it took literally something like that to push me to do a YouTube channel. And I'm fortunate that I got that push to do so, because now after 50 plus videos later, I can say that I have a YouTube channel now, which is pretty amazing. Now, while I've done it for a year, it hasn't gone without its share of trials and errors. There are some things that have worked, there's some things that definitely didn't work. And those that have followed my channel, my friends, family members, normal subscribers out there, have actually pointed out to me on a couple of things, and I've taken that to heart. But I always say, you know, progress, not perfection. So it's all still a working thing. It's still turning, this machine is still running. And hopefully one day down the road, I can feel comfortable in being able to provide a clear, concise video journal or whatever video I do in the foreseeable future without any mishaps. But there'll always be times where I get to learn something new, just like right now. But I thought I'd point out that it's marked a year since the beginning of Eugene Reviews. So I do want to take time to say thank you so much to any and everyone who has gotten a chance to watch one of my review videos. I don't care if it's been 1 second or of an entire 20 to 30 minutes, however long the duration is for those videos. If you had a chance to just sit back, watch on your computer or on your smartphone or on your tablet, a portion of my video or all of my video, I have nothing but thanks and just a humble appreciation for everything that's happened thus far. And I thank you for the support, I thank you for the admiration, I thank you for the views, for all the likes, and continue to spread that love and support, and continue to give me any and all comments, constructive criticisms, things that you like, things that you didn't like. I'm all eyes and ears. But thank you so much again. Thank you guys for all your love and support. I can't wait to see what the future has in store. It's a new year, so time to try some other new things out. So be on the lookout soon for more Eugene Reviews content as we continue with the pandemic kind of slowly going down in regards to the number of cases, people getting vaccinated, businesses and venues starting to open back up. It's starting to kind of go back to normal, especially with movie theaters. Now I'm getting a chance now to actually see new movies in theaters. So I can't wait to actually do movie reviews for actual new movies that are actually in theaters. So be on the lookout for that. So once again, thank you guys so much. I wanted to take that time just to say thank you again. Continue to love and support, like, share, subscribe as always. As I always say, I hope you enjoy watching it as much as I enjoy doing this. So thank you guys, and here's to many more years, many more videos, many more moments to share here on Eugene Reviews. Thanks. What's going on, YouTube world? Welcome back to another episode of Eugene Reviews. I am Eugene, and thank you so much as always for tuning into my YouTube channel. And today we're going to continue with more of our video journals and video reviews, especially with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Black Widow is still imminent, coming out in theaters and on Disney Plus, I still believe, their premiere access on July 9th. So before we get into phase 4, I want to cover everything else from the Infinity Saga, from phase 1s, 2, and 3 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So we're going into the 21st Marvel Cinematic Universe film and the introduction to Carol Danvers, aka Captain Marvel. Now, Captain Marvel was the first film to come out in the year of 2019 and was the first rendition and first introduction of the character of Carol Danvers, aka Captain Marvel, starring freshly new Academy Award winning actress Brie Larson as the titular character. As far as my history with watching this film, I think I did see it twice. I saw it, I want to say, once with friends and then a second time by myself, as I have always done. And let's find out what I think about this film when we go into the development, execution, and overall response for Captain Marvel. Let's check it out. So when it comes to the early developments for Captain Marvel, we have to go as far back as probably 2013. Now, if you follow the publication history of Captain Marvel in the comics, you do know that there are two renditions of that character, one male and one female. And this is not to get it confused with Captain Marvel from the DC comics, which was recently changed to Shazam to further kind of differentiate both of the characters and superheroes. We're not talking about the DC comic Captain Marvel, we're talking about the Marvel Captain Marvel. And as President Kevin Feige of Marvel Studios announced in 2015, the whole slate of Phase 3 films, Captain Marvel was going to be Carol Danvers. And then in 2016 at Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con, it was announced that recently awarded Academy Award winner Brie Larson would be at the helm of the Carol Danvers role for Captain Marvel. Now, originally, Captain Marvel was going to play a part actually in Avengers Age of Ultron back in 2015. If you look up the clip, you'll see that there is a deleted scene from the film in which Captain Marvel was introduced in the newly reformed Avengers team at the end of the film. However, due to differences in regards to the direction or in regards to the writing or what have you, that scene was deemed deleted, but you can still look it up and you can see who and where they wanted originally Captain Marvel to be introduced. So Captain Marvel was released to theaters on March 8th, 2019, and it would actually mark the first MCU film to be released after the untimely death of Stan Lee. Now, Stan Lee is renowned as one of the founders, one of the godfathers, one of the head honchos of Marvel Comics from the very, very beginning, as well as his notable and numerous cameos. So when the news of his death was broken, it had shocked comic book fans all around the world. This was the first film that was released after his death. So that's a pretty significant thing to note for that. All right, a few notes here and there when it comes to the development of Captain Marvel. Let's go ahead and take a look at the actual execution for the film. So Captain Marvel basically follows the story of Carol Danvers, who would eventually take the realm of the Captain Marvel titular heroic role, but it gives you the proper Marvel formulaic introduction of who this character is, why are they so significant, and what's their path, their arc going forward. Overall, I will say that Captain Marvel is good. There is plenty, I mean, with a capital P, plenty of nostalgic references to this. Being that this film takes place in the 90s, there's a lot of callbacks to the 90s. It's hard to believe that now as we speak that the 90s was 30 years ago. That means I'm gonna turn 30? Damn. And if you grew up in the 90s, you knew all about the retro stuff that was showcased. Radio Shack, Blockbuster, dial-up internet. Everyone knows that. You know that sound, the dial-up sound, like that annoying ass sound, we all know that. And of course the beautiful rhythm and sounds of the notorious ska band known as No Doubt with Gwen Stefani. As any typical MCU film does, it goes straight into who Carol Danvers is and really her upbringing, how she obtained her power, and what really she's meant for in the long run in the MCU. You can tell from, you know, the constant adversity that she had to endure and the setbacks and her overall arc throughout this 2-hour film, really what Carol Danvers is about and why it's so significant into the arc and the overall layout of the MCU. I'll admit she did feel a bit overpowering at times. I just felt like maybe there wasn't too many faults and it didn't feel like there was too much of a struggle with her. But then again, her backstory, there were some struggles. They did some flashbacks here and there that kind of signified her kind of overcoming all of her struggles and all of her setbacks. But still, it just felt like her kind of achieving her power and her kind of honing in her power. It just felt like it was just really, really overpowering. The film also stars a bunch of other stars like Jude Law, who plays Yon-Rogg. You've got the great Annette Bening playing Mar-Vell. You've got Ben Mendelsohn, a great phenomenal actor playing Talos. You've got other actors and stars in this like Gemma Chan. You've got other characters like Maria and Monica Rambeau, which if you've watched WandaVision, you know who Monica Rambeau is. And then of course you've got a young, de-aged version of Nick Fury played by none other than Samuel motherfucking L. Jackson. The film also has some good humor to it. I think it was nice to showcase a realm of humor with not only Carol Danvers, but with Nick Fury. The chemistry with those two were good enough to kind of lead me along and be invested in this story of finding out her real identity and her real path in life. I think overall the film is good, and it's enough to let me know, okay, this is Carol Danvers and this is her role in the MCU. This is how powerful she is. And we're gonna see her very, very soon, of course, in the climactic big finale that we'll get to in the next couple videos. So nostalgic, fun, catering to the 90s, obviously, introducing us to who these characters are and really the significance behind their role in the MCU. Overall, it's a formulaic and just predictable kind of pathway that you would see from an MCU film. Not that it's bad, but then again, not that it's good or pushing the envelope. All right, with that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at what the audience said about Captain Marvel. So overall, box office wise, let's get that out of the way. Box office wise, Captain Marvel made $1.12 billion. The first female-led MCU film, and it made $1.12 billion. That was the 5th biggest film in the year of 2019. It's the 7th biggest opening box office number worldwide, not just domestically, worldwide. At the time it was released, it became the 23rd biggest film overall in regards to box office. It's now ranked at 26th. And if you're counting along, this is the 7th film in the MCU to cross the $1 billion mark. Of course, the Avengers, Iron Man 3, Avengers Age of Ultron, Captain America Civil War, Black Panther, Avengers Infinity War, and now Captain Marvel. Astronomical numbers when it comes to the finances and revenue for this, obviously, because it's a Marvel film, it's a new character, and it's gonna generate some buzz because of all of that. As far as the viewing amongst the community of fans, it is really hard to pinpoint really what the verdict is amongst the community of Marvel Cinematic Universe film goers and fans. If you had a room of 10 people, you'll see maybe 5 or 6 people that say they love the film. You might see 5 to 6 people that say that, you know, they didn't like the film. A lot of people are saying that overall this film just felt okay. Sure, a lot had to do with probably how the structure of the film was. I can understand people's gripes and overall withdrawals with how the character of Carol Danvers was played, especially from Brie Larson's standpoint. But let's be honest too, a bunch of this criticism isn't necessarily coming from the film, but it is coming from just the overall view of Brie Larson. Now, I don't know why there's this negative criticism and negative kind of connotation on Brie Larson. Yes, there was an interview, if you could look it up and see about her take on, I think, white males reviewing her film and saying about her not caring about what the white male man thinks about her film, or her saying something about, you know, it doesn't matter to her what the white male thinks of her films. Something in regards to that, I don't know, I feel like it's just this misconstrued urban legend that's just been kind of snowballing and snowballing and snowballing into this big cluster of hate towards Brie Larson. Now, mind you, I feel like it is kind of going down a little bit just because we haven't seen Brie Larson in a big motion picture role since Endgame. Yeah, at the time, it just became this big thing of this overall impression of her and just a negative connotation on her and her takes and her viewership and her stance and viewpoints and ideals, stuff like that. I can't really get into that. I feel like that's a whole different and separate video in itself. Yes, there are criticisms to Captain Marvel in itself, whether you could look at it from a story standpoint or from a character standpoint, and it's fair. But let's be honest too, there's also some criticism just for the fact that it's Brie Larson playing Captain Marvel. Whether wrong or right, up in the air, but there's no denying there are that type of criticism present. But that's the impression overall. I mean, great revenue as always for a Marvel film. The viewership and overall impression with film fans, Marvel fans, MCU fans is generally okay, favorable, with a strong number of people just kind of having a disdain for Brie Larson, whether it be justifiably for her performance and the character of Carol Danvers, or whether it be just her standpoint when it comes to, you know, certain ideals, when it comes to political or cultural or society-based type of ordeals, whatever, what have you. That's kind of the lay of the land when it comes to Captain Marvel and to Brie Larson as a whole when it came to the release of this film. So a lot to kind of digest when it comes to this. So without further ado, let me go ahead and give my quick verdict on it, and we'll have it at that. The 21st film of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Captain Marvel. I actually thoroughly enjoyed this film. I think that there's a good amount of humor to it, a good amount of action, and a good amount of character arcs, and invested characters for myself personally that I feel like I'm on board with this. I like this addition. I like that there's a little part of this MCU trope, this MCU saga that we can look at and say, man, that was good to know. That was good to know. It's not outstanding, it's not magnificent or brilliant by any stretch of the imagination, but then again, it's not hot garbage, it's not terrible, it's not, you know, at the bottom of the barrel when it comes to MCU. I think it's good. I think it's good enough, it's passable, and it's a good presentation of this significantly big character that we're gonna see in future films, not just Endgame, which we're gonna get to in a few weeks, but like other future projects. As just mentioned by Marvel Studios in 2023, I wanna say, we are going to see The Marvels, which is basically the sequel to Captain Marvel. And it's not just gonna have Carol Danvers in it, we're gonna see Monica Rambeau and a surprising new character in Miss Marvel, which is actually being made for Disney Plus right now as we speak for their TV slate. But yes, it's good enough for me to say, okay, this is who this person is. Interesting story. I'd be interested to see what her character arc will look like going forward. And as far as the criticism with Brie Larson, I have no problem with Brie Larson, honestly. I think she is a phenomenal actress. I do think that whatever faults came from the performance per se wasn't necessarily her fault, but rather possibly the writing of the character. I just feel like that was what was given to her, and she tried to do it and make it the best that she could possible. And for me, I think it's passable when it comes to the overall execution of Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel. So Brie Larson, you know, I'm kudos to Brie Larson for her, and for her also to kind of withstanding the whole, I guess, negative connotations and criticisms and naysayers and skeptics and just the bad aura going over her. I applaud her for kind of honing in and muscling through that. So I'm impressed with it. I love Talos in the film. I think that Ben Mendelsohn is one of the most underrated actors today. If you don't know who Ben Mendelsohn is, look up Ben Mendelsohn, look up all of the films that he's in, and you'll see just how captivating his characters are and how much of a great actor he's becoming. Nick Fury, even though the de-aging part was a little bit too much, I do appreciate Samuel L. Jackson and of course the flair that he brings with his aura and his character and his presentation and his overall just presence on screen. Once again, 90s callback. Being a 90s kid myself, it's nice to see all of these little tidbits of things from the 90s, and I'm just saying, yeah, you're really trying to make this a 90s film. I appreciate it. You know, might have been too much, but I'm okay with it. Overall, it seems like it's a good fit for the MCU. It's the typical formula for an MCU film in regards to introducing new characters, make characters investing, make characters likable and you can attach yourselves to, and you've got yourselves a home run. You could see it from this film, you could see it from films like Black Panther, Iron Man, Doctor Strange, Captain America, all the other films that you've seen backstories for. Same type of formula with these. And, you know, Captain Marvel is no exception to the formula, whether it be outstanding or terrible. You know, I feel like it's in the middle bunch. So overall, I'm gonna say that Captain Marvel gets a very, very good 7.9 out of 10. Now, if you're following my ratings for the MCU, you'll know that I'm also doing a ranking of all of the MCU films, being that this is the 21st film. 21. I'm going to put somewhere on here, you know, 21 films, it's a lot to cover. 21. But 21 films. 21. Here are all the 21 films with Captain Marvel included. 21. 21. Thus far in regards to ranking of best to worst. And if you're following along, We have 23 Marvel Cinematic Universe films totally right now without Black Widow, which is imminent. So that means we've only got 2 more films to cover. And the next film obviously is going to be the big granddaddy culmination of the entire MCU from the past 10 years. And it's none other than Avengers Endgame. I cannot wait for that review. I cannot wait to put that out there and let you know what I think about it. So be on the lookout for that in the next maybe week or so. So we'll see. But that does it for my video journal and movie review for Captain Marvel. What did you guys think of the film? Did you think it was okay? Did you think it was fantastic? Did you think it was just bottom feeding trash? Did you love Brie Larson? Did you have a disdain and hate for Brie Larson? I would really like to know, especially with the whole, you know, story about her and what have you, and the whole negative imagery on her. I want to know about it. Please, if you have time and if you want to express that, as long as it's appropriate, please leave them in the comment section below. I'd love to know about it. Like, share, subscribe, do all that hot stuff. Be sure to follow my YouTube page by clicking the bell notification somewhere on the page or somewhere on the video. You'll see around there somewhere. That'll notify you for any and all content that's going to be released for Eugene Reviews as soon as it comes out on YouTube. Also follow me on my other social media outlets such as Instagram and Twitter. It is a new month, it is May, so I will be putting out a top 5 recommendation for the month of May. Although I am waiting for some things to come out in May that are coming out in the latter half, so I might be putting that out a little bit late, but hopefully you can see that before the month ends. You can also see my other reviews and my other type of videos somewhere on the description below. I'm gonna have that in that playlist for you available as you watch this. As I always say, I hope you guys enjoy watching these as much as I enjoy doing these. It's been a full year since I've been doing this. This is crazy, and I know there's still more, much more work to be done. And this isn't perfect by a long shot. It's still getting progress done. Still gotta find a few specs, a little tidbits to kind of adjust and edit and restructure and what have you. It's still a work in progress, but I'm fortunate, whoever is viewing this, if you are viewing this, that you're along for the ride for this. I thank you guys so much. Continue to get the word out about Eugene Reviews, whether it be on YouTube or on Twitter or on Facebook or on Instagram. Let everybody know. Let your mom, your mama's mama, let them all know that Eugene Reviews is on YouTube. And if you want any and all movie content, I'm the guy to give you that supply. That concludes another episode of Eugene Reviews. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I will see you guys again very, very soon with more content, more videos, more movie stuff in general here on Eugene Reviews. And that is a wrap. Now, while it's only been a year, there's still a lot of trials and errors, nothing perfect. However, due to certain reasonings when it comes to creative or writing or what have you, the film was deemed as a deleted. You've got other characters like Gemma Chan. You've got other actors. It may not be right, but